Okay,
Got
guys,
it.
good to have you here. So this is the pretty much the first podcast I would say based around ADHD, and
Yes.
I've got my very good friend here, Emre Heald. Me and him have pretty much grown up together, and we've both I think we're both well versed in this topic. So why don't I just
Yes.
let you introduce yourself?
My name is Emre Heald. He's been a good friend of Jago's for a long time. I think I've had a very unique life, and I have some stories to tell. But in terms of this video, it's about ADHD, which I would definitely say I have definitely.
Hmm.
And I think it's a very important subject because a lot of people get labeled as it, but they don't understand what it is and the importance of it.
Yeah, I think it's very misunderstood. I think for us to come up here and say it, like, oh, we've got ADHD, I think most people are thinking, oh, they like to label themselves, like, oh, they've got like diseases
Yeah,
and shit. It's not that at all. How do you perceive
yeah.
it?
Oh, that's a good question. I would perceive ADHD as just higher energy. Higher energy.
Yeah.
That's how I perceive it. I think the kids, I would say the school paradigm is the best way to describe it because that's why you're labeled as it first. So the teacher says something you don't necessarily agree with, and you feel obliged to use your higher energy to either combat that or say something or add to it. So a lot in school, I'd be talking without putting my hand up. Like I just I just burst out and say, I don't agree with that, or I do agree with that.
Yeah.
And I would say personally, it's like if you have nine people in the room, if you have 10 people in the room, nine are just going to be quiet, but one's going to be super like he can be super focused sometimes and then super not interested sometimes.
Hmm.
So it's like a high end spectrum. I think it's probably like a higher frequency, like a higher wavelength.
Hmm.
Like because each person kind of emits an energy and it's probably on the higher spectrum. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's very interesting that you brought that school subject into the conversation, and you're definitely right. It's one of the first instances where it's seen as a drawback, as a disease,
Yeah.
because everyone goes to school, and if you don't fit the program, which a lot of kids don't, especially younger males who don't fit the program, they are instantly led to believe at the start of their lives that they're a failure, that they're not going to fit in with the system,
Yeah.
that they're not going to live a life, of success because they don't fit in with school. But it's funny
Yeah.
because if it's not that you're fitting in with school, it's that you don't put up with school because
Yes.
the schooling system isn't fit for real life. What's your experience with school?
School felt like a prison to me.
Hmm.
School felt like a prison, like a genuine prison, where me as a guy, I kind of wanted to do things. I wanted to at least stand up every 10 minutes. Just I'm told to sit there and in silence and kind of conform, and it just wasn't who I was.
Hmm.
And I I can never settle for that low quality experience really. So I just started rebelling kind of. I naturally rebelled. Like young men aren't bad. It's just they kind of that's what they do. They're supposed to be out there chasing something, out there doing something, and we're taught to just sit there in silence and copy something.
Hmm.
But it's I'm quite surprised that 10 out of 10 people, that 10 out of 10 young men don't fight back. I'm quite surprised at how many people could just coast along with that because
Hmm.
I couldn't personally.
Yeah, just sitting along and accepting it, like not speaking out really.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like you don't really have a choice because you can't focus anyway. So you've only got one
yeah,
option, and
yeah.
well, you've got two
You would
options.
get
You've got the
yeah.
option to sit there and sleep or just chill, or you've got the option to like say something.
So in school, any exterior opinion is wrong.
Hmm.
Anything that an individual in the class says is wrong. They kind of say, "Oh, you can't say that," or "That's how it's meant to be." But really, it's just processed information. It's just processed information, and then naturally, as a person, I would just say to myself, "I don't agree with that. I'm going to say something."
Hmm.
And I got banned from ethics. I got banned from ethics because
And
it
can we
just
go
always.
deeper into that? Why did you get banned from ethics?
I got banned from ethics because every lesson there was some form of just indoctrination being you'd be taught that just unnormal stuff, just stuff that was completely new and like untested
Mm,
was being taught, and I like I would just speak against it, not too like not too vigorously, only slightly, and that was when I got met with the hard punishment of like, oh, he doesn't agree with this. Okay, let's ban him.
mm,
Let's almost move him schools.
yeah,
And it's like they're so easy to like throw you in the dumpster. They're so easy to just get rid of you, and you got kicked out of school yourself. So
yeah.
like
So I know what's
I
up.
think it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very unhospitable environment where they don't accept they. What I think the problem with school is this whole treat everybody the same. You want to treat me the same as somebody who doesn't want more for themselves.
Yeah, and I think it's like regardless of what the actual subjects were that you disagreed with, the fact that you get punished for offering your opinion and questioning
Yeah,
things is ridiculous.
yeah,
And it's a
yeah,
complete failure of shaping a child into an adult. You have to let them have their own opinions, form that, critically think,
yeah,
form their own perspectives, and you get punished for
yeah,
that in school. It's horrible. It's terrible.
yeah,
Absolutely terrible. And it kind of makes you realize, okay, what am I actually in school for? It's just to be pushed into the
yeah,
next herd of workers.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what I actually think.
Well,
It matters how
yeah,
I work for other people for the rest of
yeah.
my life, basically.
I think the education system could capitalize on this and say, okay, these are the young naughty men. These are the guys who can get a lot of attention. Nobody talks about how important it is to influence people. If you can, if you could influence a class as a child, if you could influence a whole class as a child and make them think a certain way, that's going to take you far in life. Sales is influencing people, grabbing attention is sales probably as well. Like it's a very important skill, and in like I imagine like a long time ago they probably kind of just got some attention seeking like some high energy people, and like they actually made them do things like, okay, these are the guys that can't really sit in the class. Let's go take them and uh, teach them carpentry,
Hmm.
teach them carpenting.
Yeah.
Like they used to probably give you a like an actual skill, but now it's like, okay, he doesn't want to sit there for 6 hours a day and copy something, so he
Hmm.
should be punished. But it's like no one's talking about these super intelligent people that are being taught to conform, and I think it's quite I think it's quite sad to be fair, because
Hmm.
like I actually knew a lot of really intelligent people in our school that just got kicked out, and then when you get kicked out of school young and you're told you're a bad person, you're going to become a bad person. You're
Hmm.
like, oh, like you're naughty, you never listening, like you should be kicked out of school, and then it happens, and then the spiral starts.
Hmm.
That's I like I saw that happen to a lot of good people.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. And that's been my personal experience as well. I wanted to ask you kind of how you were perceived at school because you couldn't focus and you didn't want to put up with what they were trying to get you to do.
Yeah,
What was your
yeah.
experience from other people? Did you get called lazy, stupid, a failure?
Oh, all of it, all of it, all of it. I like every teacher knew me, and even if I got a new teacher, they would have already known who I was just from like staff room talks and stuff.
Hmm.
I did have a bad name in school. I would always get to about 5 behavior points from being kicked out every year, and
Yeah.
then like just generally just like force myself and literally just like sleep in the class and not get kicked out. Because like if I was conscious, I'd just get kicked out. So like I'd have to like just like literally switch off my like, brain to not get kicked out.
Yeah, I get that. You have to tranquilize yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
like when you're on the risk of getting kicked out,
yeah,
you really have to tamper down. You really have to tamper
yeah.
down,
It's so
it's
forced,
awful,
isn't it?
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrible. It's honestly, it's like being in a prison, like you say.
yeah.
But who out of the other kids that you knew they had ADHD as well? Talk a little bit about how intelligent they actually were.
Oh, they were
Mm,
always really funny, and humor is very important. humor can take you a long way in life.
Mm.
People want to be around you if you're humorous. And like I it's honestly really sad how the school system didn't capitalize on this. They could have really really done well, but they've essentially abandoned us. They've essentially abandoned the like high energy young males, really. And
Mm.
I feel like that's why like the old classic masculinity's kind of been psyoped, really. They've
Mm.
just like or like that's not but that's the whole point is they hated us because they couldn't control us. But they could have influenced us positively. They could have done that like if they would have like imagine if the school had a curriculum of like, I don't know, boxing. See if every guy had to do boxing. By the time it's 12 o'clock, they'll all be too tired to be messing around because they've
Yeah.
actually stimulated themselves. It would have been this way better program. Or
Mm.
like or like sports every day, I think
Yeah.
should have been a thing. Like it could have been so much better, but instead it was a really unhospitable environment that was very hard to thrive. In terms of school, I had all right grades, but I didn't pass some things, and I knew I could have passed them. Well, like I did pass everything except I think I passed everything except English
Mm.
because my like I was quite dyslexic, but like I can read and write fine. But I think if I would have enjoyed school more, I would have tried harder in those lessons. Because
Mm.
like every day I was like, oh, I'm going to fucking school.
Yeah.
And then when I
Yeah.
get there, I just show off, and then like I just leave. Because
Mm.
like I didn't want to be there. I didn't feel valued there. So I kind of just wasted it.
Yeah.
There's like
And
if I don't feel valued here, I just waste it.
yeah, and tell me if you agree, but the kids who had ADHD in school were some of the most encapsulating, most engaging conversationalists I've ever
Yeah,
seen, and that sort of social aspect, that expression and that passion gets silenced and it gets punished in school. You're not allowed to
yeah,
speak. You're not allowed to talk to your peers.
yeah,
Why?
yeah.
That's an intensely valuable skill to be able to conversate
Can't even
well.
talk in the corridors anymore. Can't even talk in the
No,
corridors anymore.
no, it's terrible.
That's
It's terrible.
that's bad.
And
Yeah,
there was a couple of kids who were naughty, right? Whatever that even means. That had incredible skills. I won't name any names,
yeah,
but there was kids there that could build a dirt bike in under like 30
yeah,
minutes. You
yeah.
know,
You know who that is?
and no people that can just encapsulate attention so well, and they're very funny to speak to. They've got a lot of humor. They're very creative. And
Yeah,
what the system does is it just pushes them down and it tells them you're wrong, you're
yeah,
a failure, you're not going to do well in life.
yeah,
If you look at the
yeah.
statistics, I think it's 60% of entrepreneurs have ADHD. They have some sort of
Yeah.
ADHD that allows them to just escape. It's not so much that
And that's
you
probably the diagnosed ones. There's probably way more that I've like undiagnosed.
yeah yeah you can look at someone and kind of tell a little bit, maybe based off the first conversation you have. You can say, oh, they have a few tendencies
Yeah.
there that I relate with. You know, they're much more
Yeah.
encapsulating. They say things with much more expression, and you have a lot more fun
Yeah.
speaking to them. And what's kind of your experience? You know, when you're out and about and you see someone,
Oh,
can you immediately tell when they have ADHD, or do you kind of
definitely.
figure it out a little bit?
Cause like I'll be chiming for 20 minutes to somebody, and
Mm.
then I won't get a response. But then sometimes I'll be sat there and someone starts chiming to me, and I'm like whoa, this guy's finally like actually contributing something.
Mm.
Like quite a lot. Like I've never been a one to like sit there in silence. I have been doing it more recently. Like it is an important skill, but I've had to learn that as a skill recently to just sit there in silence. But
Mm.
in terms of like the question you just asked, people that are high energy when they talk to you, it's a great experience because they give you so much knowledge. So much knowledge is like shared quick fire.
Mm.
Like boom 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 boom. This was happening, and like it's quite chaotic, but in a positive way, I think, because
Mm.
it's just non-stop like facts and opinions and like what matters. And then like I've noticed people with like ADHD, like ob like obsession is power. I think if you can obsess about your own diet, then your diet is going to be fantastic.
Mm.
If you can obsess about your gymming, then you're going to be shredded, aren't you? So like
Mm.
when I see them obsessive people, I think it's a great thing because they like take pride in the and like care about what they're doing. Like I think it's an important thing.
You're
What
right,
happened
yeah?
then?
I don't know. I think you cut
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
You need to
Well,
get some.
like
You need
it's
to get
probably
some
because
5G,
you're
bro.
like 12 million miles away.
Yeah, you need to get some of that toxic 5G, that super mutant 5G.
5G. Yeah, yeah.
5G.
I'll get 5G. Yeah, I'll get 5G and another head that comes with it with all the radiation.
Yeah, man. You start mutating.
But
Um,
yeah, so I have a question for you.
mhm. Shoot.
What do you think? What do you think a guy who is high energy, like, how should he present himself? Should he like? Do you think he should hold back his like true energy, or he should just be who he is?
That's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. And I think it's a lifelong skill that you're going to have to learn and craft as you go. So I'm sure you can relate, especially as a teenager. The impulsivity is off the charts, and the need to say something or to interrupt or to say something as soon as you
Yeah,
think it is insane. And it can be quite
yeah,
unpleasant for the other people that you're speaking to. I remember that I would used to interrupt people all the time because I would forget what I was going to say otherwise. And so I would say
yeah,
the ability to present yourself very, very well is super, super important. And the way to get there is just practice, 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 practice. And you just want to get better at slowing down a little bit. So it can be very easy to get really into it. The juices are flowing. You want to say
yeah,
this and that and this and that, but you
yeah,
have to kind of take yourself out of your head and position yourself as the other person and realize what do they want out of the conversation. They don't want to hear everything that you have to say. You have to like
yeah,
filter out what is relevant to them. What are they going to enjoy that you say, and how do you say it to encapsulate them?
yeah,
If you're speaking
yeah,
really fast and you blah blah blah, you're muttering over your words, they won't. It's not going to work well for them. But if you can say
yeah,
it very nicely, you can say anything, and if
yeah.
you say it well, people are going to listen.
Do you think that high energy people sometimes come across as aggressive and like needy and compulsive? Because I think that's something I've been perceived as quite a lot. Sometimes when I ramble and just and like I feel like when I have these like high energy outbursts, I'm like honesty is something that comes out really like unfiltered. Like I'll just be super honest, and then I'll kind of regret it after. But sometimes we
Yeah.
are perceived as like aggressive, and I don't like that's something I need to kind of change. Like I have been trying to like just take it easy these days, and it's a very valuable skill. Like embracing the silence and just shutting down because, but it's something I just struggle so hard to do. Like I'd like leave down in the comments a good way to just like shut down, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And I think for me at least, tell me if you agree, but there was a certain point in the past few years or so that I really started to learn how to slow down, how to
Yeah,
relax and just really completely relax to a point that I didn't think was possible. And you just think back
yeah,
and you thought, I've been living my whole life tensed up, anxious, stressed, nervous, but I didn't even realize that was a thing. So then you realize what true relaxation feels like. And it's just
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, there's probably all them sauna sessions we had just like relaxing out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, no, no. It is. I think like another thing I've realized is I used to notice with you a lot is when you talk, you do that, like
This, this,
move your shoulder.
yeah,
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, 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 yeah. That, yeah. Like I feel like we have them kind of those not like a tick, but like a I I I would always move my hands a lot, and quite a lot of what I do is like I would have four things to say at once, and I'd say all four things to say at the same time, and just go yeah, like
Yeah,
I just start
yeah,
stuttering.
yeah.
Like I don't do that anymore.
Mm.
Luckily, like I kind of grew out of it. But as a kid, I would stutter so much because I'd be speaking so fast, so fast. But like, is I think I think slowing down, like slowing down the speed you talk is very important if you're like a high energy person. Because
Yeah.
like and I think girls and like guys and like people sometimes when you've got a lot to say, you come across as desperate.
Mm. And
That's another
also,
thing people think.
kind of, it's kind of hard to follow. If you want to be that encapsulating person that you know you can be, you need to make it easily digestible for the person you're speaking to. And so if you're like blurting stuff out all the time and you're sidetracking, people can't follow
Yeah,
along with your train of thought. So I think that the
yeah,
ability to articulate your thoughts in a nice and digestible manner is so
yeah,
vital. But
yeah,
it's something that can work so well if you just practice at it.
yeah. What what I like about these talks is like a lot of people don't reinforce the very important things that they need to reinforce, like being articulate and slowing down. Is like some people will look at us talking about that and think, why are they talking about being articulate and slowing down? But like that's important.
Hmm.
That's super important. Like if you can do that younger, like start start being articulate, so many doors will just open. And but then also I think an important thing is like valuing your own opinion. Because I think a lot of people are like scared to say what they want to say now. And
Mm.
like I think you have to be of high energy and like confident to actually say it now. Because like there's like people think there's some big like omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent policing
Hmm.
that's gonna come after you for saying something. And it's like it was always the like ADHD kids in class that would just literally like say it how it was, like, okay, this is bullshit what we're learning.
Mm.
Or like they're always the first ones and always the first ones to kick the bucket kind of. What I've realized about it is I actually get fed up very, very easily sometimes. Like sometimes I'm really tolerant and like I can withstand a lot, but sometimes like I think ADHD people they sometimes obsess over something and they just get rid of it. They just obsess and like okay, enough's enough. Like say for example when you used to smoke and like I used to smoke, it was always about smoking. We'd be like watching videos about like 420 blazing videos and stuff. And like then when we finally stopped, we was like, enough's enough, never again, never
Mm.
again anymore. That like 0 to 100 paradigm is like very prevalent in the in the higher energy people.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. It's one common trait among most ADHD people is there's just no moderation. Do you know when you're trying to explain something to someone and then they say,
Yeah.
"Why can't you just have like one beer? Why?"
Oh,
You like, and they
hear
say
it all
like
the time.
moderation. It's just like you don't understand,
Yeah.
bruh. You don't understand this realm.
Moderation. I hate
Moderation.
it. I hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you speak the
Uh,
language, when you speak the language of ADHD to another person that has it, you completely understand. You don't have to tell them why not just one.
yeah.
You understand if they're
Yeah.
locked in or they're not.
Yeah. 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 It's true. And like, do you think ADHD? Like, I think this is a little bit true, but I think ADHD can sometimes come with having a big ego.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because again, if you apply that philosophy of 0 to 100, there's just all or
Yeah.
nothing. If you do
Yeah.
something well, so if you experience a win, you're gonna feel amazing. You're gonna feel amazing,
Yeah.
incredible,
Yeah.
untouchable. And yeah, you can definitely lose the humility when you get a big win, and you can definitely become
Yeah.
sort of like an egotistical person. And again, if you
Yeah.
experience a loss, like a big loss, that will hit your
Loss.
ego like
It
nothing
hurts.
else. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
it
Yes.
hurts.
I
Yeah, yeah.
felt that. Yeah. No, it's
Everything
true.
is
It's true. It's
everything
true.
is a lot deeper than it feels like it should be.
Yeah. Everything's a bit more magnetized,
Yeah, magnetized.
kind of.
Boom.
No,
Magnified.
magnified.
Magnified. Yeah, that's it.
Magnetized.
Yeah,
Magnified. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Mm.
it's true. It's true. It's true. And it's something I'm grateful like for because then if like then every lesson I learn is going to be more magnified.
Mm.
Every like I feel like in high energy person, ADHD person makes mistakes earlier in life,
Hmm.
but then learn from that.
Mm.
Like I think it's very valuable. I think it's very valuable, and I think it's important. Because I remember when me and you were racking up mistakes like there were no tomorrow, bro. Do you remember them days when we just like, yo, I just got humbled, I just learned something. Yo, I just got humbled again, I learned something. And now it's like I'm just grateful of that.
Yeah.
Like I've learned so much so young. And I was talking to a guy in the sauna yesterday, and he was asking me some questions, and he was just saying, I wish I was as wise as you was 20. And it's
Mm.
like, I feel like I'm only this wise because I've made a lot of mistakes, really.
Yeah.
Like,
We've
it's,
listen,
it,
we've got 10 minutes left, so I'm just gonna quick fire some questions for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but first of all, let's just clear the air about what it actually means. So ADHD, the definition in of itself is a false paradigm. There's no attention deficit. There's no deficit of attention. It's just where
yeah,
you put it. There's actually a larger focus and a larger intensity of the attention that you have, but it's just where you place
yeah,
it. So we always see it as a blessing, right? And when we say it, we mean it as a gift, like a good thing. Like, oh, you've got
yeah,
ADHD, like good on you, lad.
yeah,
Like you will
yeah,
prosper, basically. But
yeah,
what's
yeah.
some? But it definitely comes with its drawbacks. So what is some of the low moments of your life that are tied to ADHD?
Or I'd say, I'd say, if you ask my mother, she would say that I obsess over something so much it gives everybody in my house a headache. Like everyone
Yeah,
like I'm there chimping out like about something
yeah,
that's that like I have like a current thing that I'm obsessing about, and then I will literally destroy the earth until I have that thing. So I'll do anything in my power to get that thing, like 100%. And then like whilst I'm doing this, I don't realize what I'm doing. So I'd be maybe just like like spending my money on this thing that I don't really need, or but like then I think that's a good thing as well because it's like then I'm getting the thing that benefits me because now I'm more obsessed about the things that help me. But I'd say another drawback of being a high energy like ADHD person is sometimes getting lost in my own like thoughts. You know, just so much going on. The opposite side to that is when after I've kind of gotten lost, I just don't care about anything. Like it's like complete radio silence in my own head. I would say the polarization is sometimes a bad thing, but sometimes a good thing. But in terms of like the main bad things, I don't know, maybe. I would I would say wanting to reveal a lot about myself when I meet somebody is something I do. Like I always want to show the person what kind of a person I am, just like way too quickly.
Hmm. And
So
you
like
and
like
how does people pleasing fit into that? Because I know we spoke about that a lot. How do you
yeah.
feel about people pleasing? Is that something that you do a lot?
Yeah. Well, no, I did for a long time, but now I've started to like I don't know really, but please myself when I'm with people,
Hmm.
kind of like not necessarily inflate myself, but talk about myself and like yeah, I like I I kind of used to do anything for attention back in the day,
Yeah.
any bit of attention I do, like, but now I don't really do that anymore. I like I can't just show my genuine self when I meet somebody every time.
Hmm.
Like and if I think if I do something that people perceive as weird, I just don't care. I
Yeah.
just don't care anymore. I just say it how it is
Yeah.
all the time.
But I think that fundamental reason as to why you can be so expressive and so engaging, it comes from a need of wanting that person to like you. At least in my experience, like I feel very
Yeah,
similar to when
yeah,
you said back in school it was a lot more intense, and I think the desire is still there, but we just learn a
yeah,
little bit more about okay,
yeah,
what's actually important. Is it pleasing everyone, or is it
yeah,
to be pleasing enough so that you're not
yeah.
destroying your own destroying yourself trying to please everybody at once.
Yes, that was yeah. I think that was something we both did for a bit. To destroy yourself for the entertainment of others, really.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's a bad thing. I think that's a very bad thing. To go back to your old question, that's a downside of high energy ADHD is destroy yourself for the expense of other people. That's
Mm.
yeah. I'd probably say that's the biggest one. I'd argue that's the biggest one,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and it can be very stressful because if you're obsessing over something that's really beneficial, so you found it to be very beneficial about yourself, and you'll be
Yeah,
talking about it to everybody, and you want to help people. You've got the intention of helping people, solve the problem that you solved, and they don't want to listen. They don't want to change. I think that's a hard, cold fact of life that you just can't change people, no matter how much
yeah,
you want to.
yeah. No, it's true, it's true. And it's like you can take a horse to water, but it's up to it if it drinks. I always say that because like especially trying to help people and then you tell them, you show them, and then they just don't do it. And
Mm,
it's like I'm just wasting my time. But I feel like people with ADHD are more what's the word? They try harder. They like try until they kind of that they've defeated themselves. Like even if this person keeps giving up on you, they like keep like trying.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I think whenever you get a new obsession over something, you immediately want to be the best at it, and you'll give it everything, your
yeah,
all to be the best at it. And a lot of the time that will flop, that will fall through because it might be unrealistic. But
yeah,
again, there'll be times where you just build a habit for life, and you become the best at it.
yeah,
There are some things that stick. So with
yeah,
MMA fighting for you, you go there consistently because you want to be the best,
yeah, yeah,
and you will learn every technique you can and practice it thousands of times.
yeah. Like yeah, yeah. Even something simple like Brawlhalla. I just wanted to be the best out of nowhere and
Yeah.
just grinded it till I was really good
Hmm.
in a short amount of time. Like, yeah, no, 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 no. I think that's a positive, really. Just like giving something your everything.
Yeah, but it's just important where you place that obsession because you can place it in the wrong things.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
do you want to be the
yeah,
best? Do you want to be the best athlete that you can, or do you want to be the best, alcoholic at the bar who can make everyone laugh with a drink? Like,
yeah.
I would choose the
I was,
former.
I was, yeah, bro. I was just gonna say that. It was like when me and you had that partying phase. We went so hard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, what? Like, I don't party now. I haven't partied a long time, but how long did we party for?
A
It
good
wasn't
two,
very long.
I would
A
say
good two.
a good 2 months, and then we did it a couple more times a few months after
Yeah,
that.
but in them 2 months, it was so hard. So much energy was going into it. Like, and
So
then
much.
and then, but like, I'm glad we kind of rinsed it and then stopped because we realized we learned faster than everybody else what it
Mm.
really is.
Yeah, and I have to say
Learn,
as well,
yeah,
I was kind of disappointed at how little energy other people gave on a night out. In my mind,
yeah,
I had it
yeah,
thought like, oh my God, town sounds amazing, clubbing sounds amazing, it sounds super high energy. And then I get there and people just don't really do much, and it's kind of left to
yeah,
you. So in a way,
yeah,
you do become the center point of attention. But is that really a good
yeah,
thing? Because you're surrounded by people that
yeah,
aren't giving back, they aren't giving much attention to
yeah.
you.
Surrounded by drugs and like alcohol, and then now like now the attention game's different. It's all about like not coming like across as needy and not caring and like having loads of options. You explained before the good chat where like two people would meet and have a really good chat, show lots of energy, talk a lot, and like it would be like a good interaction. But like nowadays that comes across as needy. So like now you've got to like not care, like just like yeah, it's I am disappointed. Like I worked up having a night out in my head is a crazy thing, and
Mm.
it's really underwhelming.
Emre,
Like it's crazy.
we've got
Yeah,
about less than a minute left, so I'm going to wrap this up very quickly. But
yeah, yeah,
I think in the age of the attention economy, I think it's never been more beneficial to have ADHD than now. If you can engage people as a
yeah,
mass following and just use that as monetization, you can make a lot of money. You can be very successful. But look, Emre, it's been a pleasure
yes.
speaking to you.
You too, my brother.
Hold Sheffield down for me, and we'll speak
Always,
again soon, man.
bro. Have a good time.